Hello and welcome to another episode of DAWNCast. I'm Di Lee.
And I'm Kathy Ngo.
And today we've got a wonderful woman. Her name is Linh Podetti joining us here. Linh runs Outsourcing Angel and is a business that she's grown over the last nearly 10 years now. And I've known Linh for almost nearly 10 years as well. I think when Monica was still a little baby. But, you know, I wanted Linh to share, I suppose, her journey of setting up this business and, coming here and from Vietnam. So it's welcome to DAWNCast.
Welcome, Linh.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, really feel privileged to be here.
Is that your phone or?
Oh, sorry.
It's quite rhythmic.
Yeah, it's very rhythmic.
You can hear it. Sorry about that.
I thought, where does that music come from?
Was that an angel? That's a really bad joke.
Sorry. I'll just put it on airplane mode. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Was that
I'm back now.
An angel ringing?
Yes, it's an angel ring. It's my husband, my lovely husband. He's always touching base where I am, what I'm doing.
That's good. So Linh, tell us, first of all, before we launch into your Outsourcing Angel, tell us a bit about yourself. I mean, you came to Australia from Vietnam. How old were you when you got here?
So I was 9 years old. I grew up in Vietnam, so I really experienced poverty because I was living in Hai Phong, the north of Vietnam. I still remember using pens with, like ink and going to the toilet. We didn't have a toilet. We actually had like a hole. So I really experienced that kind of life. And when I came to Australia, everything was just like amazing. And I think that's what really grounded me. And I really felt that, whatever I do from here, I want to give back. I've always had that need to, I've been helped, so I want to help back. And that's why I'm really engaged and passionate about Outsourcing Angel, because I help to create employment for people in the Philippines. And people always ask me, why don't you help Vietnamese people? And I'm like, well, what's wrong with helping Filipino? Because I always had this belief that we're all one human being, And I also thought that if someone could be successful, so could I. So I've always had that mindset, and kind of sidetracked my answers there.
No, not at all. Where did you grow up? Was it Victoria? Is that right?
Yeah, so I moved to Melbourne. We didn't come through as refugees. So my aunties and stuff were already refugees in, Hong Kong and places like that. When they came to Australia after a few years, they helped us migrate over. So we flew. My mum said she was always the chicken one. She's like afraid of dying and whatever. So
she didn't escape.
Yeah, so she stayed back. And so we just came over later on in 92 when, Australia was more open about bringing skilled migrants over. Yeah.
So you guys were sponsored over.
Yes. And the next part of my life was not as good. You come to Australia thinking that, because, when you're in Vietnam and you have Vicky or, or like Westerners coming back, you always think that they're kind of living a king and queen life and it must be great over there. But when we came over here, we really realized that people really worked hard all day, all night. And then my parents were the same. They just, straight away bought themselves sewing machines and started sewing. And I was a bit clueless. And at 10, I was like, Mom, this looks fun. Can I help? And that was it. I never could stop again. She made me work from the age of 10. And because I'm a fast learner and I'm very kind of like, I guess I learn quick. And so I was really good. And so she actually saw me as a skilled worker. And so I ended up sewing day and night till I was in my late teens. And I couldn't, I actually had to work all the time. And I
still
feel
to school?
traumatized.
You didn't go to school?
Yeah, so after school, no. So I went to school, came home, sewed till night, and there was no weekends. It was just sewing. And even till this day, I would have tears waking up. And I said to my mum, I think I'm still traumatized because it's like child labor. And, I'm not angry at my mum and my parents anymore. There was a period I was resentful. But I look back now and I'm like, they taught me the biggest lesson about hard work, about, that's why I just hustle. And even after 10 years in business, I'm still hustling and I love it. And, even my husband's like, stop, just relax. Like, why do you? And it must be that kind of endless working that they instilled in me, except that I've learned now to enjoy my life at the same time. So you'll catch me on my Instagram. I'm traveling different places all the time because I learned the good bits and then I replaced it with, replace the bad bits that they did, which is they didn't know how to enjoy themselves.
Yeah, that's just the work ethic. With I'm Vietnamese as well, so that's just what they do. That's what they do.
The three of us on this show at the moment that are Vietnamese background, born here, arrived young, not in refugee, and arrived from refugee camps. Look, three different perspectives.
But yeah, I feel sorry for the parents back then. Just don't know how to enjoy life. They keep working away, thinking that one day I'll enjoy life, but life is too short.
It was almost like the feeling of they felt that they didn't deserve to have that time for themselves because they felt guilty. Like even today, my mum feels guilty about doing something for herself. So she's always thinking about her family, but nothing for herself, which is a bit sad. And I'm guilty of working really, really hard as well. So I try to kind of let go a little bit. And I don't really relate to the self-care Sundays.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, because, as I'm in Australia, I was so westernized. I became so westernized. And then I was clashing with my parents who were so old school. And that's why I ended up having a kid young. I was a teenage mum kind of thing and rebelled and did all that stuff. And that's kind of where my journey went to the bad way first before it's better now.
What was it like having a child as a teenager and being a Vietnamese person as well?
I got kicked out of home, said don't ever come back. Once again, they taught me another lesson, and that's why I think tough love sometimes really is helpful because without all those lessons, without that kind of swim out, get yourself out. You can't swim, but I'm going to throw you in the deep end and get out has taught me so much. So so I had a kid young because I was just going against them. I, didn't like anything that they said, so I was just going against them, made bad choices. But I also always had that silly belief that, that's all right, whatever whatever happens, I can deal with it. She's like, it's a kid. Oh, that's fine. Because I just have no grasp of reality and what consequences are. And so, which is a good thing now looking at as an entrepreneur, right? Sometimes when you think too far and you think of consequences, you never do it.
It's like fresh eyes.
Yeah, you're too afraid because you're thinking about the negative. But I was always rosy. I was always, oh, yeah, I can do it. And so I had the kid and I'm like, okay, it's pretty hard. Not only that, then my parents were disgraced. They were like, this is not the daughter I want. Get out. I wasn't allowed to talk to my sister. I wasn't allowed to talk to my mum was banned from seeing me. So my dad was very tough. And so, I had a lot of anger and resentment and I had to learn to just live on my own. That's another thing, learn to be resourceful. With limited money from Centrelink, you just make the best of it. I've rented out house with other junkies in there because it's the cheapest, $70. But I also learned to really connect with people, whether they're on drugs or not on drugs. I felt like I could understand them. They're going through things and I could live with them and not feel like, oh, they're scary or anything because they're still just people that are struggling. And so I was a struggling single mom, as in just trying to live on the street. But, one thing I did was just keep taking one day at a time. And because I kind of failed, I saw that it was a failure because I made the wrong choice and with the person and then it didn't work out. I vowed to myself that never again, as in from here onward, I'm just going to succeed. I'm never going to be that typical single mum that people think you will be. So, because I had a kid when I was in uni. So, most people would quit their uni and, do nothing. I only took 6 months off, came back, finished it with a distinction. So, when I got my graduation certificate, I was like, not only did I graduate, I had the distinction, So what does it show you? You can have it all. And I think that's that mentality I have moving forward was just that you can have it all. You just need to prioritize and so I end up having a kid, go to school, still, then after that got a job, just everyone just a normal.
Were you when your parents kind of said, threw you out and you had to do this on your own with your child, were you feeling angry, resentful? I know you're like me. We wear this, what I call the positive mask, and we just kind of soldier on, move forward despite whatever it is gets thrown at us.
Yep.
But do you remember then at that point in time, did you feel like lost, completely lost?
Oh,
Were there moments when you just like, what am
Oh,
I
yeah, I
doing?
was confused. I have no idea about what life is all about. I was an angry person. I would get into fights at clubs. I remember walking in clubs and go, I just want someone to pick on me because I want to fight. So that's just, now I understand that it's just that hurt people want to hurt people, right? And so I wasn't an angel either. Because I was hurt, I also, dated, been in relationships and would hurt them, cheat on people and just said, who cares? I don't care, because I was just very immature. And I look back now, I just go, because I was so lost and I was so in pain, I didn't know how to fix myself. So instead, I just hurt other people along the way. And then, so it wasn't till like in my late 20s, 25, 26 was, one time I had a big breakup. I had so many breakups because I was just, constantly jumping from one relationship to another, looking for love because I was craving the family love or love. And finally, one day I just said, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I keep having this problem or attract all these drama and these people? And that was when I had that awakening moment. I kind of like asked God, like, God help me. And then in that year, things just started to change. Like I started to see different things, see opportunities to get into life coaching. So I learned life coaching, learned more about life. I'm like, oh, I thought everyone thought the same thing. No, everyone has different reality, really? Like I had no idea. So I think, as being brought up Asian, you're so bubbled up. You don't know anything. I made a lot of wrong choices with even dating my ex because I actually didn't know there was bad people in the world. I thought there was murderers and killers and then there's good people. I didn't know there was people in between. So that's just how gullible I was. And so then I learned life coaching and started to watch successful people and said, okay, how do I do that? And but I was still transitioning from a party girl and being this crazy girl to wanting this new life. And luckily I met my husband who's from Sydney and I moved to Sydney. It was a good change of my life because I think if I was still in Melbourne, you're still caught with your old life and your friends and you go out drinking, partying, and then you wouldn't be able to, kind of change. But moving to Sydney 8 years ago was a nice change. And then I was able to just start everything fresh.
Sometimes I often say to people when there's drama in their lives or something's happening or they're not happy, they say, oh, I'm going to move and I'm going to relocate. And I often say, if you're going to relocate, whatever it is that's occurring in your life at that point in that place is going to follow unless you actually, you yourself have to change. So, so I'm sure by moving, it did not change. Like it changed the location, but you were still the you there. So, but you must have done something in terms of your mindset, in terms of your whole being, to really shift the you from Melbourne to the you to Sydney. Do you know what I mean?
So I was already fixed. That's why I attracted my husband, if you know what I mean. So in that year, I was working on myself. I was very content with being single for the first time and just worked on myself, mindsets, and learned a million videos and YouTube and Tony Robbins, everything, right? That's just like a sponge because I didn't even know there was a world out there on personal development. And so, then I created that shopping list of my husband and I worked on myself, as in to attract that person, you got to be that person. And so when I met my husband, I wasn't in a desperate mode either. I was just like, okay, who are you, and was able to come from a place of, I don't need you, are we good for each other? That's it. And so when I moved to Sydney, like you said, I attracted the opportunity to move because I was ready. It wasn't that, there was no, and then we're still, tomorrow is our 8-year wedding anniversary. And it's still a happy, loving relationship. And so I just think that I've really worked a lot on myself.
I said to Kathy, you created a list of the man that you wanted. And then you actually attracted him. And I said, I said to her, what? I when I listened to Lynn's telling me that, I said, maybe it's a bit too late for me to create a list because I've got one already. But that list.
It could be other things, like, because what it is setting goals, right? Setting goals. So for you, Lynn, it was a person, but for us, it could be, I don't know, a business goal or a certain thing. Like it could be like if we want to run a marathon or.
So it's about setting goals at the end of the day.
So, I mean, I manifested everything. So I don't know if you know, Kathy, but my husband found me on YouTube. That's how random it is.
I was just going to ask, did you guys meet at a club maybe?
No. So So that's how random it is. Once
Yeah.
you're clear on your goal and you set it out there, the opportunity just comes so random. We have no connections at all. And he just stumbled across one video, and I wasn't doing many videos. I was just doing a one top video. Like, it was nothing. I wasn't
What was
a
it about?
YouTube star.
What was your channel about at the time?
It was just how to start a business, because I was just starting a business. So I was just like creating whatever content, but it was literally like maybe 2 videos. I wasn't a content creator. And so it comes when you're ready. And, you know, when you're saying, so you're saying that you've got a partner, but you want to change. And I think it's still important to list down what it is that you want and communicate that with your partner. Because earlier this year, I actually communicated with my husband, and I kind of said, you know what, I really would love for you to be more motivated. And I know you've succeeded in business, but I would love for you to try other areas, because I'm very motivated and I want us to have more things in common. I want to be proud that you set when someone sets their goals and achieve it, that's sexy, right? Because after you're married for 8 years, it doesn't matter about their looks or their whatever anymore, right? But it's the way they treat life or whatever that
8
makes
years
you
is
go,
only a baby step, honey.
I see what you mean, Lynn. It's like you want your partner or friends or whoever to be challenged and to grow and to have different interests, and for you to champion them on.
Yeah. And guess what? He changed. So this year he said, he was like, I've never had that serious talk. I kind of felt maybe I should settle. At least he's not a bad guy, and like he's good enough. But then I thought, you know what? What if I want more? So like, it's not bad to want more. So I said, I want more for you. I would love for you to try something more. And then he's like, okay, I'm gonna exercise. I'm gonna look after my health. And now he's lost about 10 kilos.
Whoa.
And he's really motivated. And what happens when you succeed in one area is you start to get excited about other areas, and I see a change in our relationship,
That's
everything.
So good. And it's infectious, right? Like when you see someone exceeding like that, then they're going to rub off into other people as well.
Yes.
Fabulous.
And guess what? Now he sees himself as an inspiration to others. So like his dad would be like, oh, how did you lose weight? And oh, maybe I could try it too. So even his dad wants to try the diet that he's on, let's say. So I said,
Is it a keto diet? Is it a
Mediterranean
keto
diet?
No, intermittent fasting.
Intermittent. Yes, I know.
Yeah. I've been on that for 2 years, and I love it.
Yeah, I've been telling my husband to do that. Just don't eat breakfast. Don't eat anything till lunchtime.
Yes. And stop at that time.
Stop at 8 o'clock.
Simple.
Yes.
Yep. Simple.
So anyway, I'm trying to push him to do that, because he said, I've got to lose all of this. I've got to lose all of this. I said, well, then do it. But I'm going to share him with this video then, Lynn.
Yeah. So tell him my story. Tell him to catch up with my husband. And that's
right. So now with outsourcing, now like you said, 10 years ago, you did a video about starting your business. And I shared with Kathy how amazing you were. You were helping me at the time as well with when you started out with having the outsourcing. In the Philippines, and but how did you build a business model that actually is sustainable? What was the journey like?
Okay, so I actually stumbled across this business. Like I didn't wake up one day, I want to start an outsourcing business. So I started a nail polish company first, because a friend gave me a nail polish. I thought, okay, I can like relabel it and sell it. And I thought I started an e-commerce store, which everyone thinks about selling products when they think about the first business, right? So I did exactly that. And then, but I had to get things outsourced, right? Get things like website done or marketing done. And, first I paid to Australian companies and, get it done, but then I got ripped off, or I didn't get what I was after. So it doesn't matter where you outsource. If you don't know what you're doing, things could go wrong. And then with limited funds, I had to look for another way. And so I came across offshore. And then so I was doing that for my first business, just trying to get things done for my first business. And I was like, I hate nail polish. Why didn't anyone tell me, what are you passionate about? Because I hate nail polish, or like I hate putting it on, and it wasn't my thing. And so when I was looking for the next opportunity, I was just networking. I just didn't want to go back to a job. That's what I was just like, okay, I'm just going to go out networking. So I actually started a meetup event on my own, like as in instead of going network, let's just create on my own, call it startup, business startup, zero capital, so attract other people that don't have money like myself, and we'll just like help one another. And so I was a host of this fortnightly meetup, and as I was people were coming, they were like, what do you do? And at the time I was learning life coaching, and I wasn't sure what am I going to coach people about, and still not sure what to do next. But people started to ask marketing questions, and I didn't know I had all this knowledge, because it was just, it came from that the first business. And then I also said, you can get it done here, and you can go to Upwork, and they're like, I don't have time to do it. And so that was how I made my first money. They just said, can you get me a website done? And then I said, okay, sure, it will be this, but it cost me that. So I made money in the difference. So I just realized that the outsourcing model is very simple, because it's really, you don't need the time or the skill, not even the money, because the person pays you the money and you get it outsourced, get it done by someone who's got the skill. And then voila, you make the money. And so my next business was a marketing agency. I was able to offer website, SEO, everything like that. But a few years down the track, I realized that it wasn't a scalable business. Even though I had a team, I was still project managing. If you want something, I would then project manage it, with the team. The team would pass it over. And I'm like, how do I make this model more scalable? That was my question. And so what I decided to do is, I'm just a bottleneck. I'm just in the middle, because I'm not a website developer either, right? So I'm just passing the buck. I'm passing the information. So I'm like, why don't I just help people hire people like I have in my company and let them work directly? And that was the idea. It was like, I will help you find that person, work with you, and I facilitate it all. But then I will also help you along the journey, because, it still comes down to like a staffing kind of issue, right? If you work with a staff member, it's a person. So you might find the best person, but how do you actually keep them working with you long term and feeling engaged? So that's why Outsourcing Angel is more than just a recruitment of virtual staff. It is more of a end-to-end HR solution.
You've been doing for quite a few years now. What are some of the challenges, obviously, when matching those overseas to the people that are here, who are needing that service, be it, say, website design, be it, say, writing content, be it researching, or be it PA, because I know you offer your Outsourcing Angels offer those services, like personal assistants or virtual assistants, as you call them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, we love what we do, and we can do it really well. I think the challenge for people is more getting their head around, like, how does remote work, And because I'm in it for so long and it's just so natural for me, I'm like, they're literally just people that work with you, but they're just behind a computer. That's it. But they just couldn't, when you're always working with someone next to you in an office, you think that they're not as productive if they're not next to you, or I don't know if they can really do the work. Because if you don't know, you haven't tried, you just don't know what you don't know. And I really think that during the COVID, it's really given us a bit of an advantage now, because now people are forced all to work remotely. Like even people who's never worked remote themselves go, I like remote. This is actually good. It's fun for me. So now they can put themselves in the people's shoes, because I became more passionate with Outsourcing Angel because, I was a single mom. I wanted to work from home and be there for my son. And I said, I want to do this for everyone. Like anyone that works with me will also work from home. If you go to the Philippines and you meet my staff, they're all living in provinces, like in Vietnamese, it's like Nhà quê, like they're not in the cities. They get to work anywhere in their country. And I'm like, so then with the COVID now, people are more open to learning how to work remotely. And so, that's what we help people with, is like, how do you actually work remotely? What tools? Because you need to have the right tools, process, even mindsets around. Because if you got the wrong mindset that, they're never going to do it good like me, or I'm faster than them. And especially if we work with startups or smaller businesses who are new, they still have more of the mentality of letting go or control. That's just more of the business side of thing. And then if you're more established, you're used to working with local, now they're more open to remote. So, but once you clear those mindsets and you're open to trying, then the solution's right there. There's tools, software, like without using project management tools, without chats and stuff, you won't be able to work properly. So that's why we call ourselves an end-to-end, because like we'll give you all that insight. We'll tell you, we'll almost coach you in everything you need to know to work with them, because giving you the person is not going to solve it. It's everything else.
So are you actually busier now that coronavirus is here?
Yeah, so it's starting to pick up more. I wouldn't say like all of a sudden like boom, like 10 times the fold, which we probably don't want to, because we want to make sure we grow and can keep up with everything. But yeah, things are starting to look more positive, and you just know you're on the right path, right? Even though it's not like it's 10 times the volume, you can just tell that this is it. This is a new chapter, because before, not everyone was like, why would I do remote? But you know what I mean?
Right,
Now
exactly.
it is.
Yeah.
The other thing is people now, more businesses are more cost conscious, right? Because of course, with the economy and everything. So now they're looking for a cheaper solution. And we have always been that cheaper solution. It's how do you get the same work done and get quality staff, but for a fraction of the cost. And then I guess I still have to educate the market. There are certain people that think, am I exploiting people by paying so little? No, you're not. You're actually giving them a job and employment there. And so it's more of a education path that I need to go through to just get more and more people on board.
So what are some of the tasks that they do? So what sort of things can you outsource?
Yeah. So for our company, particularly because I came from that marketing agency background, we're kind of sticking in that niche. So you can find people to do anything with your marketing and admin work. So from social media marketing, website development, graphic design, LinkedIn marketing, content writing, just like anything that you can work virtually that's related to your back-end office and admin support and marketing. And then, of course, different skill set means, different talent, different costing, we also have different packages. So as a small business owner, you might not be able to afford a full-time person, but you can start with 10 hours, and up to 40 hours a week. So we try to, but we still stick to dedicated, because I've already been in the shoe of outsourcing, where you outsource a task, because by the time you get the task back, you're waiting around, and then you get the task back and it's wrong. And then you're like, I need to make a change. And then you wait for that person to come back a few days later. So outsourcing tasks is only good when you're just purely starting out. But when you're ready to really take your business serious, even if you're small, it's so important to know that that person is there at that time all the time. And your business keeps growing and changing. You want that person to keep growing and changing. Whereas if you work with an outsourced provider and just a task base, then you make a change, they're like, but that's outside of scope. Well, that's going to cost you this much. Okay, then it's just way too much, back and forth. So, we've tried, even during the COVID, some of our clients did cancel because they were, in the lockdown period, they were in the gym business, or they were in the restaurant business. We were panicking. We were like, oh my God, what if everyone just stops living, and not need a VA anymore? And so I was in that panic mode, and we tried to do, once-off projects and things. And after that experiment, we realized that, look, at the end of the day, if someone can't afford, they can't afford, even if it's, once off or 10 hours. The second thing is, the big picture is that we're just really good at helping you find someone and stay with you is what we're good at, not just the recruiting. Yeah.
What about, as you said, people talking about exploiting people, and you're saying no because they've got employment. But what about, have you been, accused of, why don't you provide employment for people here in Australia, but rather providing employment for somebody overseas? And what has been your response to that?
So I would always say, let's say you're a business owner and you have local staff. It's not really about, okay, I'm just going to cut my local staff out and hire more people. It's really about looking at your local staff's role and go, because if, let's say you hire a salesperson and they're on, I don't know, $60,000, $70,000, but within their role, they spend 2 hours on the phone and 6 hours doing admin work and doing whatever else, right? Imagine if they spent 8 hours doing the big high impact work for you, and you outsource, or not outsource, but have someone cheaper to do the little tasks. So you will grow your business. You will even have more motivated staff who feel like they're actually adding value to the bottom line. Because although you want them to make more money, but you give them everything to do, and then they're stuck in their job, they can't do it. The next thing is, I think that more and more people are going to want to start their own business moving forward anyway, as in Australia or America. And so there's going to be even more freelancing or free remote work. But as a freelancer yourself, you also need to start thinking big. How can you maybe provide the things that only you could do? So let's just say you're a great marketing person. But if you just spend your 8 hours consumed with 2 clients, because that's all you can do, how are you going to really scale? What if you just do strategies for them, but then have your team, you start to build out hiring resources that to do the execution of those tasks, and then or you can add on services, add on other things you can't do because you've got other people to do video editing, doing whatever else. So I'm also starting to train local people to start thinking bigger. So for example, we have freelancing marketing freelancers, and we're starting to teach them that. We're like, okay, don't just be that freelancer and serving limited clients. You start to think about how you can build out a team, because technically I was that one person who started to just hire people. But the advantage for me was kind of, I didn't have the skill. I didn't know how to do website. I didn't know how to do anything. So I had to outsource from day one. Sometimes people have they think that it's an advantage that they know how to design. So they just spend time designing all day because I can do it all. But then that's kind of the curse, because then they're stuck in it.
That's
and
right.
They can't let go.
That's right.
And so I've spoken to people who's been maybe like a designer for 10 years and just realized that if I was hit by a bus tomorrow, that's it. I don't have a business, so I can't work. And only to realize that I have to scale. I have to hire virtual staff. So that's where I think leveraging the cheaper resource from overseas is great. And I think that local people still add so much value that overseas can't. You still know culturally how Australians work, businesses work. You're educated differently here. You're strategic, right? So spend time doing that.
Now, your business model also, there's some component, it's about giving back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just going out there and just, selling selling the service that you offer, but there's a component whereby you really go back to the Philippines. I think, I don't know if you travel this year annually, but to give back. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I've always had this thing where I wanted to give back. And so even when I was starting the agency and we were very small, I would always, donate money and here and there. And so luckily one of our team member, his cousin was actually he was like a gangster who turned good. He was like one of those bad boy that found God and then changed his life and dedicated his life to volunteering to help people that living up in the mountains, where normal people, normal organizations don't go up there because you have to trek to get up there. And so early on, we worked with him, we gave him money, and along the way, we just continued that way. And as the business grew, we just funded him more. And what's good about it is that we are not an organization. Like, we are not, like a nonprofit or anything. We just do it from our heart. We just do it from what we can. And he also, he and his group of volunteers also don't take salaries or don't pay for overheads. Literally every dollar that I give him would go to the people. So, every weekend, so we fund him every month, for many years now. And every month we would see photos of whatever we want to happen. So, solar panel. And what I like about having him on the ground is he's choosing and prioritizing what the community needs right now. So let's just say, you give him the money, he'll be like, okay, the earthquake just happened. We really need to start doing this for this community. And then we're able to do that. And, next week we actually get to see physical things happening really fast because we're partnered with people that are doing it from their heart as well. There's no waiting around for anything. So that's one side where it's helping the people who are living in extreme poverty. They're just needing food and electricity and things like that. But the other side is our VAs also volunteer to teach computer trainings to like disadvantaged kids over there. So we partner with organizations like Villani Foundation, which they have a house of orphan kids and kids who are from, bad homes. And so we just provide computer training, teach them things, because I'm like, well, if we could expose them to this online work, then one day they can find employment and work online. And so rather than, so it's kind of creating ripple effect. And I always tell the VAs as well, like, it's not enough for you to have a good job working from home. You need to start thinking, how can you pass that on, as a leader or as anything. So that's my part to the world.
How are they coping in the Philippines with COVID? Like, is it impacted as much as like what we're seeing here and hearing here in Australia?
Let's say I think the poor people are even, it's getting worse in a sense. I've read articles of there's more people dying from starvation, right? Not just because of the
That's right.
actual COVID. I think people in Asia are probably more obedient. They're probably staying home more. They're probably just, the president says stay home, so stay home, right? And I'm sure the president in the Philippines are a lot more ruthless, you don't cross the line because you'll get in trouble. But yeah, I think the cases are growing a bit, and people are more fearful too. That people are more like, oh, I don't want to get out. And so but with my team, the VAs over there, nothing really changed for them because they're already working from home. But I know that a lot of the BPO companies that do what we do, but in office space, I'm sure they would have had to make a big change, like trying to get everyone working from home. And maybe these people from corporate are not used to working from home. So, but in terms of our virtual staff, they're quite, okay, because it's always been that way. They've always been at home. But yeah, they were still positive. I think
That's good. So where to? Where to now? What's the next stage for Linh Podetti and Outsourcing Angel?
I have a lot of big plans for Outsourcing Angel. I see ourselves as a promoter of talent. So, I want to then have a business where I'm promoting marketing managers, like Australian or American marketing managers, right? Because I think we'll niche in that marketing space, but that means there's more remote work for, people in the marketing field or business managers. So that means more local outsourcing. I see ourselves as even outsourcing to companies. So let's just say I know great website companies and LinkedIn marketing companies or SEO companies. I want it to be that hub where you go here and you know that they're all good companies. Because you go to Google and you're going to find them. But if you go to Outsourcing Angel Hub, whether you want a person or you want a company or you want Australian, that's kind of where I want to see it. And I also see us being the place where you can find training too, because with staff, you need training. You need to know what the hell you're doing in business or whatever. Then you can give that training to yourself or to your staff. And so I see us as this big outsourcing thing. For myself, I don't know if I told you I want to be an actor, right?
That's awesome.
Oh my
So
God.
I've been learning acting since this year. I really like I love it. I thought I would like it, but when I did it, I do like it, right? When I'm doing it, I find it so fun. It's like, I don't know. It was just like you feel like a kid again.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. My God.
I would get carried away.
Well, you could use your imagination. Do whatever you want. Play whoever you want.
Yeah. And when you're
I'm camera shy. I'm camera shy. I can do live feeds, but like if you ask me to act, oh my God.
That's a limiting belief. So I think once you know the skill, you just, try it. But, I see myself as I'm following the footstep of Oprah. I love Oprah, and I'm starting to see, I'm like, okay, well, I love kind of business and maybe I'll do more talk shows and then later on I'll feature, like, I don't see myself as like a full-time actor, but more of like, I want to be in movies, but learning acting will prepare me for that opportunity. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Very smart.
but I want to do movies not just for the sake of being a movie star. I want to do movies that inspire. I want to do movies that are great movies that change the world.
Wow.
So that's my plan.
So
what
we're
about
going to
documentaries? What about documentaries as well? Like Netflix has so many awesome reality shows and documentaries as well.
Yeah, I love documentaries. Like I'm obsessed with watching documentary. I'm always like, is there a new documentary there? Right?
Yeah, watch about this. It's called the Triplets. It's something Triplets on Netflix at the moment. The story of these triplets who were
they found each other or something.
They found each other. They were split up. They found each other by sheer coincidence. They found that there were three of them. And so there was this big story in the United States. So it's a great doco, actually.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I've just been watching Indian matchmaking.
All right.
But, like, for example, because I want to be an actor, one of my staff was able to spot an opportunity. There's someone making a documentary about mum entrepreneurs, and she's from Canada. And so right now she's organizing and so I'm kind of being part of the interview process. Cool. And if I get it, then I'll be in like a documentary about entrepreneur. But I wouldn't see that if I didn't have decided to be in acting, right?
Yeah.
That's right. And you have to tell the world as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm kind of
Yeah.
like really open to what my heart tells me and then trying it and always being ready, always preparing and getting ready. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Great.
congratulations. Well, we'll watch out for you on the screen somewhere, starring Lynn Podetti.
I can visualize it already.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I know you. You'll definitely see me around. I always want to make sure that I'm that Jenny from the block. You know, that
That's
Lynn
right,
from the block.
Jenny from
that
the block.
Always,
Lynn from the
always
block,
want to be
die
me
from the
no
block.
matter what happens.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time, and I hope that we wish you great success, and we'll stay in touch, and we'll see where where this journey leads you.
Yes.
So
Thank you
awesome.
so much. I had so much fun chatting with you girls.
Same
So
here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
All the best.
That's it from us here at DAWNCast. If you like what you've just heard, leave us a comment or click and subscribe to DAWNCast, and we hope to hear from you soon. In the meantime, have a good day, and I'm Dai Lee.
And I'm Kathy Ngo.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. It's like a summer holiday song.
Yeah, it is. Very summer holiday.
Need a beer.